Is this filming? Alright, it's recording. If only I had $1 for every time I was sitting in the shower and I thought of some idea and I was like, oh, I should make a video on that. And then I got out of the shower and I just give no shits about it anymore. So I'm shocked that I was able to overcome a dead battery in the camera and actually give a crap about this. I will never ever do a scripted video. I'm not going to write down my thoughts. I'm just going to go with the flow, and whatever comes out is either good or trash, and that's what I'm going to put out there. So I'm sitting in the shower and I was thinking about an ENTP's desire to connect with people, like to have a deep connection, and our fears of, like, our two biggest fears of being controlled or like stuck in a bad spot, and our desire to connect, and like our worry that we'll never have that connection. And I had this thought that maybe the other people that crave that would be another ENTP. And I was like, oh shit, like I would never date another ENTP, and if I did, they would have to be at least like 35 plus. And that got me thinking about the difference between a young ENTP and a much older ENTP. And I've been in the MBTI community for a long time, like 2 decades. I started my account on MBTI Central, or Typology Central now, back when it was MBTI Central, I think over 10 years ago. I have YouTube videos. My YouTube account's like from maybe 99, before it was messed up by Google owning it. So I've been around for a long time, written articles and done videos, and was an obsession for a while, and then I've like gotten away from it. But thinking about what I was like as a younger ENTP versus now, like I think the main reason I would be insecure about dating another ENTP is just because I know what I was like, and I was a piece of shit. Like, really, like, young ENTPs are kind of shit. Like, we're given this like crazy skill set, but nothing to really keep it in check. Like with the highly underdeveloped FE, we're just kind of reckless with it. We can create intimacy quickly, but we don't understand that it means more to other people than it might mean to us. So I did that a lot. I was like very reckless with people's emotions all through my 20s. I was still like, I still cared about people. I have that like empathy, that sort of empathic side, and that was always there. It just wasn't something that actually made my decisions for me. My decisions were always very head based, and like I hadn't really integrated my head and my heart well, so they couldn't like come up with a reasonable decision together. So like I wouldn't, like, I've never been a liar, but I would omit. And I've never been a cheater, but like I would break up with a girl and then like jump into something else super quickly, like much quicker than I think is reasonable, and of course leaving the other person feeling, like they just didn't mean anything to me at all, which wasn't the case. But so I did a lot of messed up things like that, and as I've gotten older, like I'm actually kind of annoyed with how principled I've become. Like I'm big on respect, and I'm big on just doing what you say when you say. I'm big on not disrespecting other people's time. So if I make a commitment, I always follow through. In fact, like at this point in my life, I'm not very good with my own time, but if I tell somebody else I'll do something, I do it. So sometimes I'll use that as a motivation. Like I'll make promises to other people just to force myself to actually follow through. So I don't know. I see a lot of posts that people make about ENTPs, and I don't even have a Facebook account anymore. It's just such a toxic environment, but especially the ENTP groups. It's just like, it's it's like the one-upmanship, but in like trying to outdo each other in shock value too, to the point that it just becomes ridiculous. Like, I mean, trying to top each other and saying the stupidest or grossest or most offensive thing possible is just kind of dumb, really. So I just don't have like the tolerance that I used to have for people. I don't like people like I used to. It's actually really weird that like I've always been really comfortable with myself, but as I've gotten older, I just don't have the same interest in talking to people. I'm still gregarious and friendly and social, and I'm super good with people. I'm a good read of people, but it's like as I've really integrated my emotions, like my TI and my FE, I've started to pick up on a lot more in the world, and I get overstimulated much easier, even like with emotional stuff. I'm like, I'm actually quite effusive and affirming. It's weird because when I was younger, I mean, people would think I didn't care because I wouldn't say things or I wasn't expressive. And as I've gotten older and realized that sometimes uh, people, it's not, it's because people need to hear it. Sometimes we say things because people need to hear them. And I'm not really capable of being insincere. So if I'm affirming, I actually mean it. I actually care. Um, but when I was young, I would never say things like that. So I don't know. It's not like beat up on young ENTPs. I just think that males, especially, I think the two types that are most susceptible to um, type negative gender reinforcements, if you will, would be the INFJ and ENTP. I think the INFJ females are, I think their negative type qualities are highly reinforced by um, gender stereotypes in our society, and I think it's the same for the males. I find that, in fact, that's why I actually frequently say I think ENTP men with INFJ females are a horrible match, like one of the worst matches. But if you reverse the genders, I actually think they're a pretty good match, because I think they both mature much better based on their type negatives not being reinforced by their gender in our culture, our society. So, um, yeah, I think like as a result, I think it probably took me until my mid 30s to really start to get a good grasp on being a good person and um, taking accountability and responsibility for other people's feelings and emotions and things like that, and not pushing intimacy or creating too much of it too quickly, and then me just like losing interest like I do with my hobbies, and um, really being accountable to the intimacy that I create with people, which is also like oddly enough sort of created a like some isolation. Like I'm a lot more isolated now, and I think it's because, and I'm always like, I think that's why I don't look at the camera, because I don't give a shit about the camera, and I'm just trying to get my thoughts, and um, so I have my shifty eyes as like my wheels are turning, but um, when I was younger, I would distract myself with new people, new relationships, and so on. And as I've gotten older, I've been a lot more focused on very deeply connected bonds with people and relationships, and so it's like resulted in sort of a more of a isolation, instead of having 15 people that I could pick to do things with, and 15 like shallower relationships. I just have a couple really deep relationships, and like people that I cherish, and I think that's like uh, become tough in a way. I mean, I like it. Like I'm a lot more at peace in my head and in general. Um, and I've become somebody I enjoy, but and I'm proud of. But shit, I miss being younger. Like I miss not caring about anything. I miss being a little bit more reckless or frivolous or poorly thought out or whatever, just going for it. But anyway, so I think I'm babbling. I gave no scientific information, just an old ass ENTP dude's opinion.